The EU is planning on restricting travel for the United States because they are opening up in May, starting in May. They have adhered to guidelines involving quarantining, involving social distancing, and a lot of the numbers in their country are good enough to where they're going to start allowing inter-country travel because of the Schengen. The Schengen, I can't say it, but there's an agreement between uh, about 26 European countries, and they can just travel freely, kind of like the U.S. without any passports. So this is going on at the start of July, and they're also taking safeguards to prevent countries with high rates in coming and basically, corrupting what they've built. And it makes perfect sense. So the United States is one of those countries because you've seen in the news that we've been just climbing. You got a lot of states in the South. You got Oklahoma, Texas, Louisiana, Arizona, and the numbers are in America at least are the highest in the entire world. So a few numbers for the American cases: you've got 2.3 million just diagnosed, and you have around 120,000 deaths. So it's quite a bit, and that's the most in the world. So America is not exempt to this travel ban. You've also got countries like Russia, Brazil. They also have high rates as well, so they will be undergoing the restrictions or the travel bans that are being imposed by the EU. And essentially, what their guidelines are in terms of restrictions would be: how many cases do you have per 100,000 individuals? Which it sounds like a sound guideline to go off of. And just a few numbers: you've got the EU as a whole, they have 16 cases per 100,000 individuals. Whereas you look at a place like Brazil, they have 190 cases per every 100,000 people. You look at the United States, we have 107 cases for every 100,000 individuals. So just think about how small 100,000 people are. That's like an area in a city. So you can imagine just different pockets of Houston, just being, we could probably have at least over 1,000 confirmed cases in this city alone. And I've seen reports about Houston possibly being the most infected city in the entire country, which is wild, which is completely wild, because you see New York had that title for the initial wave, and Governor Cuomo was extremely proactive, and he made sure to take serious measures to prevent the COVID, because New York is much bigger than America, or New York is much bigger than Houston. And I've seen Cuomo do things like freeze payments, monthly payments for your house, essentially, so you wouldn't get evicted. Just simple things like that would help people survive this time and actually stay inside the house, so they didn't feel like they had to go out. But yeah, down here in Texas is just different. People act like it's not real. So going back to this travel ban, because I just went off on a whole tangent. The biggest blow, I mean, come on, let's be real. The biggest blow is to Trump's ego. You can't ban America from anything whenever Donald Trump is president. So we'll see how he feels about it, but it's not us being targeted. It's just the circumstances of the situation. and he was boasting about how good he's done and combating the virus, which yes, he hasn't. But yeah, major blow for Donald Trump and his administration. And so the criteria that I said per 100,000 people, they plan on updating the list every 2 weeks, because that's the incubation period for the virus. So every 2 weeks they're gonna go back and reevaluate each country and put them on the list, take them off the list, relist them. So they really are taking steps to protect their citizens in a situation like this. And you just wish that America would do the same thing. So the travel ban isn't something that the EU wanted to necessarily impose on America, because they get a lot of money from Americans traveling to Europe for tourism. You get millions of Americans going to Europe every single year, and the same thing happens the other way around. And Trump banned Europeans from coming into the United States back in March. So he took a preemptive approach to banning Europe as a whole. I don't know how many other countries he banned from coming into the United States, but he banned Europe. Europe is now at a point to where they're about to reopen. They're in the next phase of their process, and we've still got them under a ban. And that's not to say that they would want to come to America, but it's we need to be worrying about ourselves instead of worrying who comes into our country, because we've handled this worse than any other country. And he wants to talk about China.